Who's on the injury report, and what storylines are we looking at? What's up, Vikings Nation, and welcome to the Minnesota Vikings Syndicate. I'm your host, Trey Wicks. Now, before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe as well as the notification bell. We're trying to get the channel to 400 subs by October 1st. It's very, very doable. So if you're a new viewer that wants endless amounts of Minnesota Vikings content, now's your time to hit that subscribe. And if you're a returning viewer and have not hit that subscribe yet, now is your time to help me reach my goal by hitting that little red button. So let's get right into it. Who is on the injury report? And then we'll slide right over to the storylines to watch for against the Detroit Lions, in which they are musically based, or musically themed anyways. So let's get right to the injury report, as Craig Peters, who is a writer for the Minnesota Vikings, kind of dove through the situation. Look, it's very thin. Not really a lot to go over other than this. So he says, the Minnesota Vikings opted for a jog through Wednesday instead of a full-fledged practice ahead of hosting the Detroit Lions at noon Central Time on Sunday. Head coach Kevin O'Connell took this approach because the Vikings were less than 48 hours from playing the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and a travel delay kept the team from getting back until almost 5 a.m. Central Time Tuesday, very early. Participation levels are estimation, but veteran safety Harrison Smith, who is under concussion protocol and stuff like that, and rookie Andrew Booth Jr., who is dealing with a quad injury, were listed as not participating. As it seems right now, Harrison Smith, I would expect him to play this Sunday when we take on the Detroit Lions. However, for Andrew Booth Jr., I doubt that's going to be the case. I think he's going to sit out this week and potentially next week to kind of rehab that quad injury that he's dealing with. Because, look, we've talked about it before. The best ability is availability. So we want to make sure Andrew Booth Jr. is 100% before putting him on the field. And yes, he is a rookie, so why would we want to tarnish anything when he's hurt and hasn't really seen NFL action? So we're waiting on him. Harrison Smith, I would assume, is going to play this Sunday. So we're playing the Detroit Lions, right? What better way than to have some musically themed storylines? There's 5 storylines, all musically themed, and we'll dive into them as Craig Peters kind of wrote out. He says he starts with the first one. The storyline number 1 is, well, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, respect, okay? Respect. He says, it's only proper to start a music-themed storylines with the late Queen of Soul. Aretha Franklin's Anthem of Empowerment is applicable because both teams are trying to earn respect after missing the playoffs for multiple seasons. Yeah. The Vikings' past 2 absences from the postseason are shorter than Detroit's streak of 5 years, but both want to elevate from where they've been. There should be zero danger of this matchup being a trap game like the last one, or like the one last December that the Lions won at the buzzer for their first of 3 victories in 2021. Now, that was a disappointing game. It happens. Whatever, we gave them their first victory. On to number 2, the second storyline. Will the real Slim Shady, no, I'm just kidding. Will the real third down defense please stand up? Big jump to go straight from Aretha to Eminem, but Minnesota's third down defense is an area to keep an eye on and could help determine the outcome. The Vikings limited the Packers to 3 for 9 on third downs and 0 for 2 on fourth downs, by the way, to force stops throughout week 1. Minnesota, however, allowed the Eagles to go 7 for 13 on third downs and didn't force Philadelphia into a fourth down. A 3rd and 13 that the Eagles picked up with a 19-yard pass on their opening drive really set the tone. Now, in the second quarter, Jalen Hurts rushed for a 26-yard touchdown on 3rd and 2. Philadelphia also converted a 3rd and 6 with 28 seconds left in the first half with a 16-yard pass to set up a field goal. To be fair, Minnesota's offense has room for improvement on the money down as well. The Vikings went 4 for 13 in week 1 and 4 for 12 Monday for a combined 32% success rate on the season that ranks tied, well, for 23rd in the NFL. Not looking good, but that's the second storyline. Will the real third down defense please stand up? As for the third storyline, ain't no mountain high enough. Look, I'm not a singer, we get it, okay? But anyways, that is the third storyline. Except for the rookies, Monday's loss wasn't an NFL first for anyone in Minnesota's locker room. At various points, everyone else has had the experience of dusting off a bad outing, going back to the film study and fixing mistakes. Now, head coach Kevin O'Connell seems to be an optimist in every situation we've seen so far. He's also a pragmatist and realist, but the optimism could help lift Minnesota's spirits as it tries to catch up in a short week. That's the tie-in to Ain't No Mountain High Enough. As for the fourth storyline, running that old-time rock and roll. We got to get the run game going, folks. Using this nod to Bob Seger and a nickname for football, or for the football to bring up the run game, the Vikings didn't run the rock much on Monday. No, we did not. Okay, Kirk Cousins, leading rusher. Minnesota finished with 11 rushing attempts for 62 yards, compared to 46 pass attempts by Cousins and 2 pass plays that ended with sacks. Part of that play distribution stemmed from falling behind 17 points at halftime. The Vikings wanted to establish the run much earlier in that game, but were unable to pick up conversions early. Minnesota gained 22 of its rushing yards on its lone touchdown drive in the second quarter and cut Philadelphia's lead to 14-7. Now, the biggest gain, which was 17 yards, was a schemed sweep for Jalen Reagor out of an imbalanced offensive line formation. Alexander Madison also gained 5 on the ground during that drive, making a 2nd and 11 into a more manageable 3rd and 6. Dalvin Cook was limited to 17 yards on 6 carries and 19 receiving yards on 4 catches. Detroit has allowed 152 rushing yards per game, sweet, and 5.07 per play so far this season, which ranks 26th and 27th respectively in the NFL. Look, we got to run the ball. We got to run the rock this game against Detroit. If they're letting up 5 yards per carry, okay, that's a first down every 2 plays. That's awesome. That is what we like to see. That means Dalvin Cook might just have an absolute heyday, okay? That is some good news, basically, okay? And last but not least, the last storyline that we're looking at here is, well, will there be dancing in the street? End zone. Will there be dancing in the end zone? Kicking it all the way back to Martha and the Vandellas to close it out, Justin Jefferson iteration of the gritty is oft imitated but never duplicated. Some in my book for dancing the street, okay? The third-year pro hit the dance twice in Minnesota's opener. His next score will be the 20th receiving touchdown of his career. If it happens in Sunday's game, it will be his 16th in 18 games at US Bank Stadium and 2nd against the Detroit Lions. Also, Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen has 49 current touchdowns or career touchdowns or something like that at US Bank. If he gets one more, I believe he ties Sammy White for the most touchdown receptions in Vikings history with 50. So let's hope he gets that. Let's hope our offense is explosive. We need to get this rock rolling. We need to bounce back big and have a division win and hopefully end up 2-1. But those are the storylines. Injury report quite short. Andrew Booth Jr. did not practice, probably won't play this week. Harrison Smith did not practice, but I would expect him to be ready to rock and roll come Sunday. Anyways, hit that subscribe as well as the notification bell. Let's get this channel to 400 subs by October 1st. It would be much appreciated. Have a great rest of your day. And what? Skol Vikes.